now. All right, cool. So welcome everyone to Hack School. This is the HTML and CSS workshop part 2. So last week we kind of dove into the fundamentals of HTML and CSS, went over a lot of the basics, and we started building out a simple music website. So this workshop, we're going to finish up on that website. We're also going to do some review on like the core fundamentals of HTML and CSS, just so you guys understand some of the more important concepts behind those. And then we'll also learn about some new stuff in HTML CSS and give some demonstrations of that as well. And also build one additional feature on the website once you finish all of that. But if you guys want to check in, the check-in code is H_CK school. So if you guys want to check in, someone can probably put the link in the chat. Otherwise, you could just go on the membership portal and check in there. Also, here's some important links. So if you guys want to look at like how to set up your coding environment, here's a link to the setup. If you want to look at these slides, we have the slides here. And here's Yuru's starter repo. So if you guys weren't here last week and didn't start building up that website, feel free to grab that and you can just clone your environment locally. So I'll quickly just demonstrate so you guys can like figure out how to set the environment yourself. But right here, this is what it'll look like when you open it. There's a folder called starter code 2, and this is like all of the code for the website. So if you go here, this little code, green code button, you can either code it manually or clone it manually, or you could just download the zip. For the sake of simplicity, I'll just download the zip. This will take just a minute to load. Okay. And then, oh, I have a lot of really bad memes. Don't look at these, please. These are all for my project's kickoff. I really resonate with this one photo of Mark Zuckerberg. But anyway, if you go here, so you should be able to open it, starter code. And if you open a web page, there you go. That's what it looked like. Looks like one of the assets in the top left is a little messed up.
Wait. It should be good though. I will open the file on my side. Maybe it'll be better.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys want to download that, Euro might fix that in a minute, but we don't need to do this like just right now. I just want to show you guys how to get this set up. So we'll get to this in just a couple of minutes. Cool. All right. Yeah, so kind of talked about this before, but we're going to do a quick review. We'll talk about tables. This is actually kind of out of order right now. We're going to do like a hack songs top 10 list. So a list of like 10 songs you can list, I guess like in a table like style, some form stuff, and then we'll create a contact us form as well. Yeah, so just to dive into some quick review, this is like kind of what an HTML document could look like. So as you can see, there's a bunch of different tags in HTML. There's opening, closing tags for almost everything. The exception is like images, for example. I wonder if I can use a pointer in this. I know sometimes there is a pointer I can use with presenter view. Is this it? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to use this really quick. Okay, can you guys see my cursor? Is that okay? If I move my cursor around, is that visible? No? Yura, can you give me a confirmation?
Yes.
You can? Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, as you can see with images, we have like regular image without a closing tag. But anyway, everything else has a closing tag. So HTML, if you create an HTML document, you have to start it with an opening and closing tag. You have a heading section, which mainly just contains metadata. Metadata is just like important data that you need to actually create a website. So for example, meta char set UTF-8, that basically like indicates this is the set of characters they're going to use for our website. You don't really need to know what all this means, especially for like a beginner. But you just have to know like a lot of this information is pretty important to building up a website. It's just part of the building blocks of your web page. We have like a title. So this is like when you open up a new tab on your browser, you can see like the title on the tab. So if you open up this, it'll just say an example web page. We have a link reference, which basically binds a CSS document to our main web page. So in this case, we have a file called styles.css, which will reference all the style stuff we want to incorporate into our HTML document. We also indicate like the type and like what it is. So it's a style sheet. And then we can also have some embedded style stuff here. So instead of maybe like putting it in another document like styles.css, we could just indicate it in this little style tag. So what the style tag indicates is that we have images. If you have any images, they're going to be of height 500. So that's the heading, mainly just metadata and some style stuff. And then below we have the body. The body contains basically what you see on the web page. So in this case, you'll have 2 images. Hey, Stanley. So in this case, we'll have 2 random images from Imgur. We have headings. So these are headings of different sizes. Hello world is like the largest one with H1, and then we have a slightly smaller one, H2, and H3 is like a smaller header size. I don't know, we're saying we went Stanley, sorry about that. And then we also have paragraphs. So paragraphs are like the smallest size on an HTML document. But yeah, that's like an example. And so we're gonna do some quick review on like some different features he built out in the last workshop. The first was our Nav Bar. And so there's a few things that we made in our Nav Bar that are kind of important. First, it's declared in a header tag. So we're just indicating that this is like at the top of our web page. You know, we have a header, we have a body, and we have a footer. So header is the top, body's in the middle, footer is the very bottom. And then we'll also have like an image in this header. So in this case, it didn't render quite right on the website we showed before, but in the top left, there's going to be a little Spotify logo. And then we have these nav tags, which indicate these are going to be like clickable buttons on our navigation bar. So that's what nav means. It just means you're going to be declaring a nav bar. Inside of that, we have these tags UL. UL stands for unordered list, which essentially means it's like bullet points. So in this case, like if we didn't actually have CSS to style our nav bar, it would just look like 3 different bullets. So in this case, UL stands for unordered list, LI stands for list item, which means these are 3 different items inside of our unordered list, or 3 different bullet points essentially that have these 3 different words. So song, playlist, and play. And we have a reference to 3 different files for these. We have a fave song.html file. So this is a web page with our favorite song. We have a fave playlist HTML file, which shows like our favorite playlist, and then a play HTML file, which lets you play a few songs. And I think these were all covered in the last workshop. Cool. And so, like I said before, like if you just had this plain as is, it's not going to actually look like anything. It's just going to look like, well, 3 different bullet points and like a picture. But to really make it look nice, that's where we need CSS. And so these are some CSS things we added into our code. So we linked the style sheet to our document, and we're able to basically do a bunch of cool things. So I'm not going to go through just everything yet, but if you read through, we style our header. So basically what this does is everything inside of this header tag is going to be styled with these attributes that we set here. So in this case, the background color is going to be black. The position's fixed, which means it doesn't move. Positioning in CSS is kind of an advanced concept. I'm not going to talk too much about that today, but it's just an important thing you want to know. We also have like the margins, so like where the top, the left, and like the right sides of the document are, and different stuff like flexbox. I think flexbox covered a little bit in the last workshop. But yeah, basically all these are important attributes that make up the header for our web page. And now we have like on the right, you can see header image. So what this means, since you just type header and image, it means that we have inside of a header tag at the image tag, this is how we're going to style images specifically. And so we have this justify content tag that indicates like this is a flex start. So more flexbox stuff. You don't need to know too much about that right now. But all you got to know for sure is that these selectors indicate that you're specifically operating on images inside of the header tag. And then header star. So similar to like image, star is a catch-all. So instead of just like, well, just in image, for example, every single element inside of a header is going to have these attributes here as well. So displays, inline, margins, color, etc. So this is how images, or I guess attributes inside of the header are going to be styled specifically. Cool. And yeah, feel free to ask any questions in the chat. I know I'm going a little fast, So if you guys are curious about anything, like I want to make this as like easy to understand as possible, especially for beginners. So feel free to ask any questions and I'll get to them as soon as I see them. But yeah, so we're gonna go into another page you worked on before, the favorite song page. So I won't spend too much time on this, but at the top you have a header, so favorite song, and we have a div. So div is essentially in HTML. They don't look like anything. They're abbreviated as like dividers. So a divider basically is like a section on our web page that we want to like specify has certain content. So in this case, this is a divider. So a section that is called the class container. It's called container because it contains most of the content for our web page. And we have like an inner div, which stores some more information. Essentially, divs are just a cool way to organize your information, and it's super important for like when you're styling in the future. So it's pretty important to use divs in that case. But we have a div that stores an image. In this case, this is the cover to the Skyfall album. Great album, by the way. Really like Adele. And then we have some more information. So we have a class called song info, which basically, as you can probably guess, has info about our song. So we have Skyfall as the name of the song, and then the artist is Adele, and some more information as well there as well. And yeah, so that covers most of the container. And then at the very bottom, we have an iframe. So not going to go into the specifics of iframe, but what this little snippet of code does is it links in a player for Spotify. It
Yeah.
embeds like a Spotify player. Yeah, maybe you want to talk about that a little bit.
So the iframe is basically a browse. What it does is it kind of embeds a HTML page into HTML page. So basically the code iframe is copied from the Spotify. So when you click like the share button, that they have a something called copy embed code. So that block of code is actually copied from the Spotify embed code. So is iframe just a Spotify thing? No, it could be anything. So it could be, so it can just be Spotify music, but it can be anything. So just like it's embedding a HTML page into a HTML page. So and
Yeah.
then I'm gonna talk about a little bit the container. So yeah, can you go to the next page actually?
Sure.
So as you guys can see that the container is a display flex. So it's a so what it does is it kind of display the thing horizontally. And then the reason why we divide into two sub div under the container is because we want to separate the music album cover as one subgroup, and then the song info, which includes title and also information, as another subgroup, and then make them as a flex box, so they align horizontally. And then the song name and the song info, for example, the Adele, and then the album name, the release date, they align vertically. So that's why they need to be in a div. And then the song info is just like we styled them individually, which we have like the color is white, and then we want the margin to be 30 pixel. So that's the reason why we separate into two sub div under the container.
Yeah, and just for those of you guys who missed it, we'll show like what this looks like visually in just a few minutes. But this is essentially like the code behind it all. And yeah, so here's some stuff about like body styling. This isn't too important, but some stuff you can do to like add to a background is, for example, like create a background image. So this case, like we have a gradient background that like makes our background look a bit nicer than just like a plain singular color. We want the background to cover our entire page. We also specify like in our body, we're going to use a specific font, Source Sans Pro. By default, I think it's like Times New Roman or Arial that HTML does, but yeah, basically this is specifying what font we want to use in our body. And then stuff about like padding, so like the spacing between like the edges of our website, is specified by padding, for example, in the margins. And then also color as well. Yeah. Okay, cool. And now we're gonna quickly hop into finishing up our website that we worked on last week. I'll pass it off to Yuru, and feel free to share your screen as well.
Mhm. Okay, so we can go over to the, so last week, what we did is, so I updated the starter code. So please reclone it or download it so that you have the correct files that you need for today. And I'm gonna set the GitHub link to the chat again. So there you go. Here is the GitHub link for the starter code for today. So I'm gonna quick go over. So last time what we did is this song page. So we have this H1 tag, favorite song, and then and also the Skyfall cover. And I said that here is one div, and then here is one div, so that and then we have another div outside of this two thing, so that the outside is called a container, and then this is one div, and this is called song info div. So basically, it aligns horizontally. And then the iframe is this, which embed a Spotify song link to the page. So if you press play, it will actually play. Last time we covered the Nav Bar, which contains a Spotify logo right here. So we have 3 tabs. So one tab is called playlist, but we haven't done anything yet. And we have play. We haven't done anything yet. So today we're gonna do this. And then so today we're gonna also cover the HTML table that we're gonna learn about. So the HTML for the table. And we're gonna do the hack song top 10. So I picked 10 songs from the Billboard top 100. And then we're gonna display those songs and then artists and ranking in a table. And then we also gonna have another page called Contact Us. So this is just a practice for you guys so that you guys can know how to do the form. And then we have the a few buttons like click me or submit button. And then, yeah, so today we're gonna build this favorite playlist. That's our first thing we're gonna do. This includes one Spotify embed code and also a scrolling bar of a few songs that I picked out. So this is only the image, but this is a good practice of like CSS on how to scrolling, build a horizontal scroll. And then this page play. So this page has 4 audio tags. And you guys can use this page to learn about CSS grid, which we're gonna talk about later. So today, let's go back to the slides. Sorry. So that's what are we gonna build today. And then first of all, let's continue to the playlist. Is that it? Okay. So we're gonna continue the favorite playlist that HTML. So first of all, we have already copied the nav bar from favorite song last time, because they all share the same nav bar. So we just need to copy it. And then to do, so in the playlist, as we can see that, so first of all, you need to choose your favorite playlist. And then you want to insert your favorite Spotify playlist embed code into the website. And then basically it's a very easy step, which is copy the embed code from Spotify. We're gonna show you later. And then also what you wanna do is find images for your top 5 favorite song from the playlist, because we're gonna make those images into a horizontal scrolling bar. So the hint for images is you want to use the image tag, which is a very important part is the source. So inside of the source, you want to insert a link to the picture. And we're gonna do this together. So So let's go to the VS Code where copy all your, sorry, anyone asking question? Okay, so what we're gonna do is, so after you clone your starter code, so we have those 3 file and also, I mean, 4 HTML file, 3 HTML file and 1 CSS file, and we also have 2 image, which is a background image and also a Spotify logo. So this is from the starter code. So I'm not gonna talk about how to download the starter code again. So basically, you can either download it or clone it into your folder. So last time we finished the favorite song.html. As we go, we went over before, and then now let's continue the favorite playlist.html. So so what I'm gonna do first is definitely we have a playlist that we want to get the embed code from. So find your favorite playlist, and now I have this playlist right here already. So what you want to do is, so in this playlist you have this more button, and you can just click share, and then you can do the embed. Oh, wait, let me see. Copy link to playlist, embed. That's weird. So
I think it's embed playlist. I think you have the right idea.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, and you just gotta wait for it to.
Oh, okay. Show the,
Yeah.
okay, I can see it. So the code's right here. Somehow.
Oh, you're really quick. Someone said they can't find play.html inside of the repository. Oh, never mind. Okay, looks like they figured it out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you have to re-download the code because I updated it, just like so go back to your starter code and then re-clone it or re-download it. So right here we can just do embed playlist, and then we can just copy the code right here. So this is a iframe code, and then right here we can just paste it right here under header. So here you go, we have the playlist right here right now. Let me update it. So right here, and then before, so above the playlist we want to have a h1 tag, which gives the page a title. So we want to do favorite playlist. So now if you refresh, it has the favorite playlist and also the playlist embed code. So do you guys follow? Is there any question? And then next thing is we're gonna find top 5 images of your favorite song in the playlist. So what I'm gonna do is basically copy the image link that I have already found into here. So we found this this is actually 6 images of my favorite song in the playlist. So remember, image, what we want is so we have this very important source attribute, which is which includes a link to the image. So I just downloaded from so I can just go to so maybe Skyfall, and then what you want to do is just click any of the image, and then you do copy image address. So that's how you get the link to the image, and then just repeat, but get all the image that you wanted. And now we can, let's save it and then go back to the demo, the demo project, and then refresh. And now we have all the image we have, but we need to style this later into a horizontal scrolling.
Let's give them like 3 minutes to find some
Yeah.
images they want to do really quick.
Yeah,
So we'll take
Sure.
a 3-minute break right now. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Yeah, we'll give you like 3 minutes just to find some images and then we'll move on to the next part.
Mhm.
I know we're going a little fast right now, so I just want to make sure everyone kind of knows what's going on. Yeah, feel free to ask any questions. Yeah, so that's a good question, Isaac. So there's 2 ways you can close image tags. You can have them be self-closing because like usually when you're doing an image, you don't have anything inside of those tags. But like if you want to demonstrate, you could also do like the slash close bracket in that first tag. So instead
Yeah.
of like, yeah, instead of having like a separate closing tag, you can just merge it into just one and then the slash, yeah. And that's sort of the exact same function.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of syntax, really.
So you can also close the image tag like this. At the end, you can do a slash. So now let's save it. And it should be updated right here that we get this skyfall image that we just copied. What is H1? So H1 is a, so this is for the text specifically. So we have H1, H2, H3, H5, H6. I think H6 is the smallest like section. So here it says the H1 element represent a section heading. So H1 is the biggest and then H6 is the smallest. And we also have P tag, which includes the like basically it's a short for the paragraph. So we have P. So if you do a P tag to some text, the text will look smaller. So for example, we have so my favorite playlist. So and then let's refresh it. So you can see that it's updated right here. So P tag displays a smaller text font, and then P is short for paragraph, and then H is basically short for heading. And then we have H1 to H6. H1 is the biggest and H6 is the smallest. Yeah, yeah. So let's go back to the CSS file in the starter code. I can go over a few things. So in the CSS file, you can see there's basically 3 different type of styling selectors. So first of all is like things like body, header. So these are selecting by the tag directly. So basically we are styling the header, all the element inside of the header, and then we are styling everything inside the body. That's first type of selectors. And then another type of selectors is called, so it's selecting by class. So we have dot container. And then let's go back to the favorite song, the HTML. So we have class equals container. So basically when you do dot something, it's selecting the class. And then we have another selector, it's called a ID selector. We didn't use it, but for example, if I want to change this song info to ID, so now the song info is ID. So instead of dot song info, right now I need to change this to this. So this is basically selecting the ID. So the difference between class and the ID is, so ID is unique. So you cannot have 2 same ID, but you can have 2 same class. So for example, let's go back to favorite song. So here I have a class called container. And then for example, right now I need to create another div which contains more elements. And I can also use class equals container, and then it will apply the same style to this part of div. However, you cannot use the same ID, so you cannot do ID equals song info right here again, because ID is unique. And then you cannot do that. So and then that's the difference. And then more advanced selector will be so right here we have div.name. So basically what we are doing is, so we go to the div and then we are selecting child element. So we go back to favorite song. So we have this, right? And then we are selecting its child element, which is so we got another. Oh, so actually the div is actually talking about this div, and this div dot name. So we got this div. So basically it's selecting its child element. We have also div dot artist. So we have div dot artist right here.
Yeah, so just to clarify, like that, it kind of goes for any div inside. So any div that has a class called .name, like, or an internal nested div or any other object that has a class of name is going to be styled in that way. So divs with some elements with a .name class inside are going to be styled in that way specifically. Hope that kind of clarifies.
So we get the links to the image by right-clicking, selecting copy link image. Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, there should be a button that says copy image address. If you copy the link address, it's probably just going to link to the web page that the image is on. You want to make sure you specifically get the image address when you right click on the image. Okay. I think we can move on to the next thing now.
Okay, so let me reload. So now we have all the elements that we needed for the for this page. So now we actually just go to CSS right now. Wait, let me go back. So if we want to style all the images into a horizontal scrolling bar, the first thing what we want to do is make this into so put all the image inside of one div, because we want to separate, like this as a whole, a one element things. Yeah, actually I'm not really explaining things very good, but so we are putting all the image inside of one div, and then now we can give this div a class called so we want to make this to be playlist. Playlist. So save it. And then so since this div has a class with playlist, and now we can go to CSS, and then we can just so remember how to select a element with class. So basically we need to add dot, and then now we do playlist. So so first of all, we want to make this width as 100%. So width as 100%. And then we can refresh it. It shouldn't do anything because we are not really but basically later when you make into a horizontal scrolling, that it's actually a 100% width. And then now go back, and then we want to do height as 300 px. So horizontal screen has 300 px. Then most that we want to wait. Can you guys hear me?
You're lagging out a
It
little bit,
says
Yuru.
my internet is on. Oh, Can you hear me right now?
I think you're good now. I think it was just cutting out for a few seconds.
Okay.
Oh, no, you're still robotic.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Uh, it's cutting in and out.
Oh,
Okay.
what about now?
I think you're okay now.
I'm okay. Okay. Just let me know if I'm lagging. Okay. Yeah, so somebody says that we should actually make sure all the image I source for the same pixel dimension. Yes. So that's a good way. So right now let's do the image styling first to make sure that all the image has the same dimension. So if we want to select all the image under playlist, then what do we do? Do anyone knows that? Like, so remember, when we want to get, let me go back to the favorite song. So we want to get the name class under this div. So we just do div.name, right? So here we can do kind of same thing. We want to get the image under the class name playlist. So we can do dot playlist image. So we are selecting all the image inside of this div, this class playlist. So we want to style this. So we want every has the same. So we can do 300 pixel, and then now let's save it. So here we go. So now that all the image has the same height, and then it looks much better. And then next thing is, so we want to make this into a horizontal scrolling. So I'm gonna introduce this one element called white space, and then we want to do called non-wrap. So I'm gonna explain this, and then let's go to the so I have this little example so you guys know what this means. So basically, so if you do white space normal, everything will be, so basically what it does is it sets how white space inside an element is handled. So right now, the element is inside of this box, but if you do non-wrap, then all the element will be overflowed outside of this box. So the purpose of doing this is, so let's go back to our stuff. So now everything is kind of like wrapped that, so we have first three image, and then the next three image just go down to the next row. But what we want is a horizontal scrolling bar, right? So we want this to be overflowed to the right side right now. So if we apply the white space non-wrap, and let's save it, and let's update again. So right now it's overflowed, right? Looks like this, but it's not a scrolling bar right now, but at least it's not wrapped to the next row. And then how to make this into a scrolling? So what we want to do is do this overflow -x. So -x means that we're talking about the x-axis, so horizontally. We want to do scroll. So now let's save it. And then we can come here again. So right here we have overflow x. So it sets what shows when content overflows a block level elements left and right edges. So for example, if you do visible, that so it overflows like this, and if you do hidden, it will hide all the overflow element. If you do scroll, then it will make this as a scrolling. And if you do auto, so basically it's the same thing as scroll. So we want to make this as a scroll, so that's why we did overflow -x, we have scroll, and now let's save it, and then let's go to our project, and then update it, and then now this is a scrolling bar. And then remember, we set this playlist width to be 100, so that's why it expands the 100% to the website. And remember that we did the styling to the bar to the body. So every element inside of this body, so should have all those CSS styling. And then remember we had this padding 60 pixel. So when we do padding 60 pixel, it sets padding to the right, to the top and bottom. So that's why this is not really like so 100% doesn't mean that it expands to the everything to the edges of the web. So it has the 60 pixel on the left and right, and then under it we have 60 pixel as well. So, and that's it for the CSS for this part. So now it's a scrolling. And do you guys have any question? Can you show your CSS so we can copy it? Yes. So we have, so we added this to CSS. So first of all is styling the playlist as whole. So we want width as 100% and then height is 300 pixel. And we have the white space is wrap, as I talked about, that it should overflow to the right side. And then if we do overflow X scrolling, then we are making the overflow scroll. And then this part is basically styling each image to the same dimension. So the height, so every image should have the same height of 300. How do I make my images smaller? Yeah, so if you do this, so dot playlist image. So basically what this is doing is, so we find this div with this class name, and then we find all the image under this div, and then style all the image in this div with a height equals pixel. And then I'm gonna go back to the HTML part really quick. So remember that the playlist, all the image is inside one div, and then this div has a class name as playlist. So remember to put that under the div. If not, then your CSS may not apply. I copied this, but they're too big.
Are all your images the same height? It may have been an issue with your class tags, maybe if it's not styled, because the 300 pixel height limit shouldn't be. Yeah, it should make the images a reasonable size.
Yeah,
I think they're all the same, like 1024 by 1024, I think. It might be zoomed in, I'm not sure.
Do you want to share screen or like how you
Sure.
do it?
I only added a few images, but let's see. This is what it looks like.
Okay. Can you go back to your CSS file or HTML file?
I guess this is a way to share.
Yeah, so you did that. And then can I see your HTML file? Maybe your HTML file. Oh yeah, remember, so all the image should be inside of a div. So so put all of your image on inside one div. So create
And do it class or?
And then yeah, class equals playlist. Yes, and then close this.
Okay.
Oh, not that. Yeah, and then close this div. And also you want to actually move the iframe out of this playlist because we don't want to. Yeah, so move this iframe out of this div.
Right.
Yeah.
Before or after the H1?
Yeah. After the H1. After the H1 because we want to.
see.
Yeah, and then now if you save it, and then reload.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you see it.
That makes sense.
So
Cool.
if you add more images, then it will become a scrolling bar.
So this wasn't doing anything because I didn't have a div for it.
Yeah, because so basically CSS is you have to select a class that so for example, right here we have playlist, then you have to select a class called a playlist or ID. Since you are using dot, then we are selecting the class. So it only applies when you have this playlist name.
So is this
Otherwise-
not doing the same thing as this then?
So the playlist image. So basically what this playlist image does is, so remember we have, so playlist is the outer div, right? And then we have
Mhm.
image. So now you have 3 image inside of your div playlist. So basically what this does is, so you are selecting playlist and then you are selecting the image under the playlist.
Oh, so this is operating on the single image, whereas this is operating on all of the images.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That makes
So-
sense.
Yeah, so that's so the second one, playlist image, is operating each image inside of the playlist div.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Thank you.
So anyone have more questions? So remember that you need this inside of your HTML. Otherwise, like the CSS, so the CSS is applying to you to whatever you have in the HTML. Otherwise, like they don't know like what element to be select, which element to be styled.
Yeah, we're getting a little low on time, so I think
Yeah.
we should try to speed it up just a little bit.
Okay, so let's go right now for the play page. So in the play, we have 4 audio tag. So right here in the product, we have play sound, which is HTML tag, H1 tag, and then we have this 4 audio tag. So let's go back to your code, and then under play.html, we have this nav bar already prepared for you. And then now inside of the body, we want first of all H1 tag, so which is called play sound, and then we want 4 audio tag, right? So remember I prepared the audio for you guys already under the audio folder. So what you want to do is, so now open a audio tag. So the audio also has a source attribute, and it's very important because it's same as image. It takes the link to the audio. So our audio is under audio folder. So first of all, let's get this audio folder first, and then we want to get the MP3, and then we want audio. So we just copy it and then change this into the different MP3 we have inside the audio folder. So we want this, and then next we have this. So now we basically inserted for 4 audio into the web page right now. And let's save it, and let's see what is, not this. So now it doesn't have anything because actually for audio, another very important thing is called control.
Oh no. I think you might have lagged out. All right, we'll give her just a minute to come back. If you guys have any questions in the meantime, feel free to ask in the chat. All right. I'll give her another minute. If not, I'll try to take over from there. No, you don't need to find your own MP3 files. I think you actually put them inside of the repo. But I'll just share my screen really quick and kind of like finish off where she was going with that. Because yeah, we're almost finished this one section. Anyway, if you check this out, basically she added this part called controls. So before we specify the source, which is like the location of the audio file we want to actually, play when you want to play the audio. This thing right here that says controls basically displays this this little interface right here, this GUI. So if you press the button, it'll play the audio. But without the controls, I don't know if I can edit this directly. I think it'll just see, it doesn't actually show anything. So if you want to show what that looks like, you have to actually type out controls. Yeah, I think that covers most of the page right there. So let me pull up the slides really quick and we'll move on to the next section. But yeah, do you guys have any questions as of right now? I think basically she was going to show how to organize the information into a grid. But we can hop back to that when her internet comes back. Okay, she said give me 2 minutes. I think her internet came down. But yeah, I'll go hop into something really quick and then we can go revisit that in just a minute. Okay. You need to find the link to the slides. Okay. Okay, so she'll show you guys how to organize this into a grid. We will revisit this in just a little bit. Does controls not the specified thing? Can we just do controls? Yeah, but you can just add in controls so that I only see the interface for one of the MP3 files, even though I listed more.
I'm back. I'm so sorry. The Wi-Fi just got disconnected. Okay. Can you allow me to share my screen again?
Yeah,
really
I did as a
sorry.
host. So I already explained to them what the controls do.
Okay.
Also, just because we're already an hour in,
Mhm.
I don't know. I think we might want to skip the grid section
Okay.
and just hop into the next stuff after. But if you just want to demonstrate like how to set up the audio stuff, and then we'll skip the grids and I'll hop into the rest of the content for the workshop.
Okay, sure. So
Okay.
let me
add you as a co-host. Okay, cool.
I think you have to stop sharing first. Oh yeah, okay. Let's go back. I'm so sorry. So now we already have one audio tag finished. So which is adding the control to the play.html. So let's finish this for audio thing by adding all the control to audio tag for audio tag. And then let's save it and then let's update it. And we have this for audio thing. And then let's this really quick. So let's make this under a div. And then here is when we want to the grids for CSS. I'm not gonna go over very detailed, but I'm just gonna briefly talk about it. So let's make this to the class as audio. And then let's go back to the CSS part. We want to select the audio. Yeah. Actually, this is a bad name. I'm gonna do audio sound. So audio sound. And then now let's make this. So if you want to use grid CSS, we can just do display. And then as grid. And then this basically you're applying the grid. And then you can do grid template columns. So basically what you are doing is, so now, for example, if we do 60 pixel, if we put 3 60 pixel, and when you do this, what you are saying is right now I want 3 columns, and each column has a width of 60 pixels. So now let's save it, and then now you can see, I mean, we're lapping together. So that's why what we want is we want to do the grid gap. So we want to gap. We want to give around 10 pixel. So let's maybe greater. So I'm gonna do grid. Yeah, we want to do grid gap, and then maybe 60 pixel. So that makes bigger. It's not big enough, so maybe 106. Let's see. Sorry. Let me see what I'm doing wrong. I think I have little problem right here. Yeah, so it should be correct. So we want to make this 60 pixel. Oh yeah, we want to style this to be larger. So 320. If we make this 320, and then this grid gap should be just 10 pixel. And now let's update it. So yeah, so right here, we have 3 columns because we define 3 columns right here. But if we delete one of the 300 pixel, now what we are saying is, so each column, so we have 2 columns, and each column has a width of 320 pixel. So let's update it, and then now we have 2 columns. So yeah, so that's the grid in CSS. And then now I think we can introduce the HTML table and then HTML form, and then we will do the hack school top 10 and the contact us form. I think you're muted.
Okay, sorry about that. Didn't realize I was muted. Yeah, I think so. You're just because we're going a little over time. Maybe you want to just do the contact us form, and we can maybe skip through the hack school top 10 because it's a bit more simple. We might just do one of them. Anyway, so let's start from the top. So just to give a quick background on what tables are. You probably have seen a table before, but they're a great way to organize data. Tables are used pretty often in web development to organize your data into rows and columns. So here's a good example of like what a table looks like. We have a header with like specifying the names of the columns, like the company, contact, and the country of this person. And you can see there's different rows that are colored differently. I think it's different depending on how the HTML is, but essentially we have a header, content, and then you can also add a footer as well if you'd like to add some extra information. But just to quickly go over like what different elements make up a table. First thing you need to make a table in HTML is just have the table tags. Very straightforward, but basically the table element stores all of the information you'll need for your table. You'll put the rows and columns inside. Inside of there, the first thing you want to do is add a row. And so TR stands for table row. It's the abbreviation you'll be using to add a new row to your table. And then inside of there, you'll add data elements, or TD for short. And so you nest these inside of your rows. And the number of TDs you have in one row will specify how many columns you have. So in this case, we have cell 1 data and cell 2 data. These will be put into column 1 and column 2 respectively. If you add more, it'll add more columns. If you remove them, it'll take away more columns. But yeah, and also like, let's say the case you have like 2 different rows, and like in the first row, maybe you have 3 different TD elements, and then second row you have 2. Basically it'll still display 3 different columns, but in the second row, it'll only have 2 of those full, starting from the left. So that's like basically how it would work if you didn't have an even amount of data elements in each row. One more thing also that I just want to cover because it'll be important in the next thing, but the data body element is a semantic element that you can use to store basically your data. So your rows, as I said before, but also for storing, specifying it's different from your heading actually. So in this case, your body is like this content, like I was showing before, all these names, and then you can have a table heading, which is abbreviated by T head, and that's for you to have your column names in there. So same thing, you'd have a table row, and instead of having TD elements, you have TH elements, table heading elements, and these are just the names of your columns. And yeah, one cool feature you can also use, not super important to know, but if you want to have basically like one element span 2 columns, you can use the call span tag. And so this operates on a table data element. You could just add call span, and it will have your data expand from just 1 column to go to 2. So I'm sure you've seen like maybe Google Sheets or like Excel spreadsheets where one data element might extend to 2 columns. That's exactly what it's doing here, just with HTML. And yeah, so same thing with the row span attribute. You can also have rows span more than just 1 row. You can have a header expand more than just 1 row, for example. It won't just be 1 box, it'll be 1 box and the box below it as well. So pretty straightforward. Yeah, don't need to know to this too well, but just some cool extra features you can do if you want to modify some tables. Yeah, and so just right now, because we're running a little short on time, I don't know. I guess we can quickly do the hack songs top 10. Yuri, do you want to take over with that?
Yes.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
cool. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Let me share my screen really quick. So first of all, let's go back to the VS Studio. We will. So first thing we want to do is create a new file called ranking.html because we want to include our table into this new file called rank.html. Oh, I think should be outside of the audio folder. So first of all, let's copy the nav bar we have done for each file. So copy the nav bar over. We also want to close the body tag and HTML tag. Yes. And then now save it. So inside of the body, this is where our table wants to be. So first of all, open the table tag, and then second, we want to open the thread tag. So as David mentioned, thread basically is for the heading of the table. So in the thread, we have this tr element, and inside of the tr, we have th. So th stands for table heading. So every element inside of this th is the heading of the table. So we have so here we want to do song, and then copy. We want to have a column called artist. And we want a column called ranking. So instead of 10, maybe I would just do 2, so that you guys can just understand how the table looks like and how to do the table part. So now, after we finish the heading for the table, and we need to do the body part. So we have a T body tag, which stands for table body. So inside of this table body, everything is like the body, yeah. So instead of th, we have td right now. So make this, so first song will be I believe it's Stay that I picked, and the artist is the kid are real. Oops. Real. I'm not gonna type everything, but the ranking was 2. And then let's do another row. So this row will be Bad Habits by Ed Sheeran. And then the ranking was 6. So I'm gonna save it, and then basically, if you yeah, if you update it, yeah, as you can see that in the nav bar we don't have this ranking thing. This is because we forget to add this add in another list item called it's a link to the rank.html. So remember, it's very important that if you add a new page, you have to update your nav bar. So we want to change this nav bar in every file. So and then save, and now let's update it. Okay, so now it's updated. So the rank we have, so this so 3 columns, song, artist, ranking, and then we have 2 rows because we put 2 tr element. So tr stand for table row, and then we have state, and then the artist and the ranking, and then if you want to style your table really quick, so we want to select our table. And then, so for the table, we want a width of 100%. And then for the table cell, so we want to select all the TD and then TH. And then we want to style all the TD and TH. So first of all, we want to give each cell a border, and then we want to do 1 pixel for the border, and then it should be solid. And then the color, what we choose is let's just do black. I think we can just choose black. So this CSS styling give each cell a border of 1 pixel, and then let's just save it and let's update it really quick. So right now you can see that this one has the border, but you can see that each cell has a border, and then it has gap in between it, and then that's what border class do. So we want to do border class, and then we want to change this to class. So this CSS will put will collapse the border so it doesn't separate, and then now we have this border around it. And then just a extra styling is we want to make in child, and then we want to pick the even child. We want to pick the even child of the table have a different color. So background color, I want this to be maybe white. So let's save it and let's update it. So now all the even row has a background of white, but you can see that the text is white as well. So we want to change the text into black really quick. So let's go back to the table. I want to change the color to be black. And then finish. And then here you go. So this is how you style this part, and then this is how you do table. And then I think we can go to the form really quick right now. So David, we can do the form right now.
Awesome. Okay. And thanks guys for sticking around for so long. I know this workshop's been going on for a while, but I appreciate you guys staying around the whole time. So yeah, so HTML forms, basically, I'm sure you guys have seen like a login page before. Login pages are basically just utilizing HTML forms. So it's a way to collect a user's input. Basically, you can interact with the form by like typing in, I guess, letters, whatever kind of data you'd like to enter. But you type in these form boxes, and then you can send it to a server or perhaps a file to process it or just like store it. So here's a little example of a form. Say you want to give a first name and a last name, you can just have a box that clarifies, okay, put your first name here, your last name here, and then you can submit right there. And we'll show you how to do something like that really quick. So just like any other element in HTML, there's an outer wrapped tag that indicates like what kind of element we're creating clearly. But this is a form tag. There's basically different attributes of the form. So there's like methods, for example, there's actions, you'll see the form content inside of there. But yeah, basically the action attribute tells you where you're sending this information. So in this case, in this little example, we're sending it to the endpoint HTTP server 1. So this can be like, for example, like a website or something. Usually it'll interact with some sort of API. APIs are kind of beyond the scope of this workshop, but all you got to know is that you're sending the information somewhere through this action. So once you press that submit button, the data that you put inside of that form is going to be sent somewhere. And then also method, it just indicates like what you're doing with that information once it's sent. So don't really need to know too much about this if you're a beginner as well. But what this is doing is it's posting the data, which means it's basically submitting it in a sense. You're sending information to the back end of some sort of server. But yeah, that's the basics of like what a form is. If you want to have a form that just doesn't send anything anywhere, you could also just remove the method and action tags just to create like an empty form. So yeah, there's stuff you could put inside of a form. So inside of the form labels, which I didn't show here, you can also do stuff like input, for example. So in this case, like this is a label for a first name, and it indicates, okay, put in your first name in this box. So you have an input of type text, which just means like this is an input box you can type into. It has a name, F name, and an ID, F name. This is more for like styling purposes. But yeah, this basically creates an input box. And you can see too, this doesn't have any closing tags. So very similar to like an image, you don't actually need to create a closing tag for an input box. And then also we have like a checkbox, for example. So if you just want to create a checkbox, you don't actually need to type any text. In this case, like you're just checking off this little box if you happen to own a bike. And so this information like name and value are important just because when you're sending information to a backend or some sort of API, you want to indicate like what kind of information did I collect. So in this case, we're collecting information about a vehicle and we're indicating, okay, this person, if they check the box, they own a bike. So it's just a way of organizing this information in a clean way. Yeah, so that's like basics of input. I kind of already talked about this before, but like checkboxes as well. Yeah, that's basically what a checkbox would look like. And number types. So if you want to also just input like a number, so sometimes you don't need to input like, words, you just need to input like a number, like a quantity of something. That's when you just indicate the type is of number. Yeah, and same thing if you want like a bar that is a range from like 0 to 100 or 0 to 10. So if you want to do like a movie rating, you would use that as well. And I kind of want to show like what these would look like. So I'm gonna try to find another tab I had open. I had this W3 schools tab. W3 try it, yeah. So I'll link this in the chat if anyone wants to use it, but this is like an interactive HTML editor that I like to use for demonstrations. But let's say, for example, we want to show like what this range would look like. I'm just going to copy paste this into the body. And now you can see this little bar right here that you can use to indicate. And it has a step of 0.1. So let's say like we want to do steps of 2. It would drag a little bit more rigidly than it would if you just had a step of 0.1. So you can really indicate like the precision of the ratings that you want to do. And I'll show like what the checkbox looks like as well. So in this case, this is for breakfast sandwiches, I think. So you can check bacon if you want bacon, eggs, pancakes, etc. So maybe if you're making some sort of like breakfast making app or something, this could come in handy. But yeah, that's essentially what checkboxes look like. And then input is exactly how it looks in this little example right here. Cool. And yeah, so there's also the select option. So I think I'm just gonna show this through demonstration. It might be easier, but let me get rid of everything we have now and show what the select looks like. So I'm sure you've seen like on a website when you have to select different options. This is using the HTML select feature. And so you could select different options in this case. So select surrounds all of the options you want to input. So In this case, this is rental options for a car, I think is this example. And you can choose small, family, or luxury vehicles. And so it's indicated through this label. But we also specify the value that we'd be sending to our backend. So if we chose small, it'd say, okay, the value that this person put in this box is small, or the value is family, or the value is lux. But yeah, it basically covers the select box. And let's also show the text area box. This one's used a bit less than the other features, I would say. But this is like if you want to have like a more variable input size. So say like, you're typing out paragraphs or something. There you go. You can have it be a multi-line. You can also have it draggable. I think you can also like change this so you don't drag it, but it's a good way to like have multi-line input boxes because just by default input is only one singular line. So if you need to, have a user put in more than just like one line, using the text area box is pretty convenient for that. Okay, cool. And so I think we were going to demonstrate a little contact us form, but we are running a little bit low on time. So I think we're actually going to end the workshop here. But we'll stick around in case you guys have any questions. And yeah, also thank you guys for coming. I know this is a really long workshop, but if you stuck through the entire time, I really appreciate you guys being here. So we'd be happy to answer any questions you have, or take any feedback if you guys have anything you'd like to comment on, if we took too long on some stuff, if you think we can improve on something. We really try to build on our workshops, so appreciate any feedback you might have. Yeah, okay, so I have to get going actually. I don't know if you want to demonstrate the contact us form, but I do have to get going in a couple minutes.
Yeah, sure. I think I can. If you guys wanna see like the ranking, like finish the ranking.html and then contact.html, you guys can stay and then I will do the demo.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So for those who really wants to learn about these two files, then I can do that. So let me share my screen. So but if any of you guys need to go, feel free to go.
All right, thanks guys.
Yep.
Hope you enjoyed the workshop. I'll catch you all later. Andrew,
Bye.
I'll give you host right now.
Okay. Okay, sure.
Cool. All right. See you guys.
Okay, so let me start to demo. So right now we have the ranking right here. So maybe do you guys want me to finish the rank.html to display the whole 10 top? It will be the same, like similar steps. Okay, so somebody says, is GitHub getting updated with these changes? Yeah, I can actually. So I think after the workshop, I'm gonna paste another link inside of this important link called finish finish the repo, so that it contains all the stuff that today. So maybe go back to the important links later, like after the workshop. I'm gonna upload it like soon after the workshop. So okay, let's go back to the art project. So currently we have rank and then we are missing a contact us page, but let's finish the rank first. So first of all, let's go back to the rank.html. So hopefully you guys catched on what I said. So first of all, right here we have we need to add this link called inside of this nav bar because we want to update our nav bar, so it takes us to the rank page. So right here we add a link element and then the link direct to the rank.html file. And then it's called rank right here. And then we have this, so this is the table Hi, can you hear me? I'm so sorry. The Wi-Fi kept sorry. Let me continue this. And then so the next row we have, so here I choose good for and then the ranking was 7. Can you guys hear me? My internet kept saying, like, there is a pop-up window. It says your internet is unstable. We can hear. Okay, cool. And then we're gonna add another row. I guess just keep going like this. But I don't want to be too competitive. I mean, repetitive. So what I'm gonna do is, let me open the solution code I have. I'm gonna copy the table icon right here. So we finished until good for you, right? And then we want to just copy the rest of the rows. And then, so let me copy it and then I go back to .html and then finish this by I just paste it so that it's much faster. So, and then after we save it, so now let's see. So right here, our table looks like this. Doesn't look super great right now, but we can add more CSS style to it. So let's go back to the CSS style. So here we have table. We make the width as 100% border, and then things we have border, and then let's change this text align. We want to align all the text to the left. And then also we want to add a padding. And then if we pick 10 pixel, then it won't look like this crowded. And then let's update this. So now it looks better. And I don't like this white background. I'm gonna change this to be some other color, which is, yeah. So this is a gray. Let's change this. Yeah. So I think right now we are done with this Hack School top 10 table. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot is before the table, I want to add a H1 element, Hack School. And then now let's update it. So right now we have this Hack School top 10. So we're done with this table element. Do you guys have any question? I will upload this code to the GitHub later, and then I will paste the link to the important link page. If not, I can continue to the contact us form. What that HTML for the hack? Was that, yeah. Was that a, so for the Hack School top 10, a H1 element. Let me copy this block of code to the chat really quick if you guys really wants to by the end of this job have a kind of like complete, oh wait, it doesn't allow me to paste it there. Then let me share this file really quick so you guys, like, I know it's a lot of things to paste. So starter code. So so I uploaded this rank.html to the chat really quick. You guys can open and then just like copy the table. But I hope you guys understand what each tag is doing. So now we can move on and go to the last file, so which is called content.html. So first of all, let's create this file really quick. So content.html. And the same thing, we want to copy the header from the other file first. So and then close the body tag, close the HTML tag. So if we want to add one more page, first thing we want to do is adding one more element to the nav bar, right? Because we want to link this page to the to nav bar, to rest of the page, which is through nav bar. So copy this and then let's just rank.html into contact.html. And we want to change this text to be contact us. And then we save it. So remember, you have to update the nav bar in each page. So go to Style, update the nav bar. Let me know if I'm going too fast, that you guys need few more moments to finish the updating. Okay, cool. So now you have this contact.html with the header, right? And now let's do the body part, to the content part. So for the first thing we want to do is open a form tag, right? And then inside the form tag is the place we want to place our form. So first thing, we want a label. The label may be called, okay, I want to input your first name. So first name. So we have this label tag. And then next we want our input tag. So input. The input tag doesn't really need to be to have a closing tag to it. So you can just open like that. And then we have input. And then remember, for the input, you need to specify the type. So for example, the type is text. So then you are saying that, okay, we want to open a input section that allows the user to input like letters like A, B, C, D, like whatever they want to do. So then let's save it and let's see. Let's update our site. Okay, I think it's not really updated. Okay, right here. Oh, here we go. Now we have this first name is a label, and then we have this input field where you can type text, right? But what if, okay, so now let's copy this to thing and then paste it. And then now let's change this label to, okay, I want you to put your phone number. So remember, a phone number is, oh, phone number, what is it? Okay. So instead of text as the type right now, what we want to change this to is we want to change this to number. So let's save it, update it. See that, okay, so the phone number is just like number like this, but actually it shouldn't supposed to be like this. So I guess for the number, I think what it works best to is, for example, you are asking for like count, then you want this type to be number. So counts could be 7, right? But I think for the phone number, it should supposed to be text as well. And then if you want to ask user for email, and we have a email type as well. So change this type into email and let's save it. So then this is a email box, allows the user to input their email. And then there are all different kind of types. Oh, actually phone number has a special type called tel, which is like short for telephone. So change this to phone number. And then they have a special type called tel. So TEL. Save it and let's see. So now you can put your phone number into it, but it has a type called telephone tel. And then this is the and then if you don't want everything to be one line, one more thing you can add is to add a BR tag. So BR tag is like a short for break. So it will allow you to add a line. So if you add BR, so then now let's see. So right now we have first name is in one line and then count, phone number, email, each is in one line. And then, okay, but then for the first name, I also need one line as well. Then I add a BR to the label as well. So I want everything has one so each element is in one row. So now it looks more like form because we added break line after each element. And then we can also add a text area thing. So let's change this to also add a label called messages. So message. And then we want to make this message as text area. So for this text area, if you put anything in between this text area, it will be the placeholder. So for example, let's just put this to be, let's just write this to be placeholder and let's update this. You can see, okay, so the message, and we have this text area that David was demoing that this can contain a lot of, this contains a paragraph. So you can put a lot of text into this. And then so what I did was like, I put placeholder. So right here, you can see that there is a placeholder element. So placeholder. So right here, you can usually put your message. For example, please input your suggestion, I guess. So now update it, you can see that this placeholder changed to please input your suggestion. And we want to style this text area. For example, we want to make this bigger. So we can change the row and the column of this. So if we, it should be rows and the columns. So if I change the row into 4 and then column to be 50, let's see how it looks like. It will make this to be bigger. So that's how you can style this. So like the row is 4. So I guess this is styling this to be the width of 4 rows. And then 50, and then columns to be 50. So this is styling this to be 50 columns. So make it wider. And I also want to break to the message. And now let's see. Okay. So now we pretty much finished the contact form. And then one more thing we want to do is, so we want to add a heading for this form. And I want this to be just called contact us form. So we can do this thing called legend. And let's put this to be contact. Oops. We want to open a H2 tag and then put contact us. So you guys will see what the legend do. So let's save it and let's refresh it first. So legend is pretty much saying that I want to give this form a title. And then I want to style this. See. So legend should have this border to it. So let me see what is the problem right here. So legend, I think what this is missing is called a field set. Let me see if I add this, it will appear. Yeah, so let me see if I change this to be just h2 element. Yeah, so okay. So what the legend is doing is, so here, let's see, we have h2 element called contact us. Then basically you are putting a heading for the form. But if we add legend, let's add to this. So what this is doing is we are putting this contact us on the border. So we can see that this is on the border right now. So this is a special tag if you want to put this along this border for the form. And I think we're pretty much finished with this form. Do you guys have any question about this? So let me know if you have any question, but I think we're pretty much done with the demo. So please feel free to ask me any question in the chat or just unmute yourself. Or yeah, hopefully you guys are following along. Just a general question. In Css div dot represent name class inside of name class, right? Yes, you are right. How will you make the placeholder message disappear when you click on the text area? Let me actually end the recording really quick.